Welcome. It's Star Walking with another Skyforce Online. Hi, I'm Deb, and with me as well, not at always, but recently as always, is Troy. Welcome, Troy.
Hi Deb, how are you?
I am busy and in a great mood, so that's a good start. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Um, so the people out there know I'll be disappearing for a little while in about 3 weeks. I've got a spinal surgery. Don't fret.
Oh,
Um, but yeah. So I'm not sure about the next stream, but I'm sure there's somebody else can fill my shoes.
yep, big shoes to fill. I was wondering whether or not you're going to mention that. So, you will be missed if you aren't able to make it to the live streams. But anyway, I hope, well, we all wish that your surgery goes well because you'll have that before we have our next live stream. Yes?
Yes. I
Yeah.
had to go. I actually go in the hospital the day of our first skywalking meeting. So unfortunately, I'll be missing that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
And
know.
maybe we won't have your trivia and we'll have to put up with mine, which we know is questionable. So,
Oh, I've got time. I might be able to scrounge up one. So you'll never know.
we got a couple of people joining us already. Welcome, Noddy. Welcome, Neil. So today it is the 1st of February. Oh my gosh, it feels like it doesn't feel like we're already a month into the year, and we've got only what 3 months, 2 months before we get to watch the Mall series, which is well, not what I wanted necessarily to
Yeah.
talk about this second, but it's fast approaching, and so is May the 4th. Like we're in February. I don't know. It might be just me because I took some time off in January and went holiday, and so I've just been busy, 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 and the time flies when you're having fun. So maybe that's just what that is.
No, I have to. I didn't actually take holidays except for the public holidays. Time has flown.
It
So
has.
it's definitely, yep. Before we know it, Maul, next thing we know, Mandalore and Grogu, maybe.
Yep. And then Ahsoka. Yep. They'll be on our doorstep. Yes.
Yeah.
Noddy says January always goes by fast. Really? Huh. Maybe. Well, we're still in summer, aren't we? Although it's hard to tell.
Tomorrow it won't be summer, it'll be 22 degrees, I hear. So,
It's not
yeah.
where I am. Like it's 18 where I am. It's
Yeah.
not summer. So today, I thought what we'd do is we'd do a bit of news and reviews. Again, like we're going to talk a little bit about what we know about Maul, but Force Ghost. And then where this came from was the conversation of someone who I know, who isn't necessarily a big Star Wars fan, had said to me, "I don't understand why in the original trilogy they had Force Ghosts, and they were Force Ghosts. You get to Return of the Jedi, and you see them at the end, and." Why they don't have that throughout the rest of Star Wars. I went, well, they do, but not as much. I thought, well, hey, this might be an interesting topic. So that's what we're going to be talking
Yeah.
about today. In the meantime, though, let's talk about, while we wait for other people to join us, and welcome if you're here, what is your favorite Star Wars battle? So, those of you who have joined us already, and Troy, Star Wars battle. Do
Are
you
we
think?
talking space, land, or both?
Well, see, it is interesting because when I posed the question, I thought to myself, are we talking one on one or are we talking army against army? And I thought maybe we'll do army against army. Do you have a favorite?
Oh. Army versus army.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I actually do. And I'm probably surprised you being, I'm usually, a OG fan, but I
Yep.
actually like clones versus the Confederate droids.
Okay. Cool. Is there a reason?
I think because both sides are organized organized armies where the rebels were like a guerrilla group where they're mishmash of everything. Um, where the clones and the Confederate are both set up as like say two strong countries battling each other.
Okay. So a little bit familiar in that sense. Noddy says his is Battle of Geonosis.
Mm, yep.
Do I have a favorite? I'm gonna say probably mine would be. I'm gonna go for a space kind of battle. In the prequels, I can't remember which one it is, but you see a lot when Neil says Order 66. Oh, rough. That's that's oh gosh, that's a like a sensitive topic, I suppose. Order 66 being the battle is like, oh, that was a killer one. Welcome, David. Thank
Literally.
you for joining us. Yeah, I know. We're talking about what is our favorite Star Wars battle. I would go for something in space where there's a lot of dogfighting going on. That would be what I like. In the prequels, I think it's the second one. You know, remember when I think it's when Anakin's a teenager kind of concept. Well, not a teenager, but you know what I mean. And Obi-Wan's they're fighting Grievous's ships.
Yeah,
That's
so
the second one.
Battle of Coruscant in Revenge
Yeah,
of the Sith, the beginning.
yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there
That
you
is
go. Yes,
that is
that.
very good. That's my
Yes,
favorite space battle.
yeah.
Yep.
That would be what comes to mind for me when I
Mm.
talk battle. I'm not so keen on the ground battles, although I have to say I am kind of fond. We know that I like weird parts of Star Wars, so I kind of like on Naboo where you've got the Roger Rogers and fighting all the oh my gosh, the Jar Jars. Anyway, I
The
can't think of
Gungans.
name. Yeah,
The
thanks.
Gungans.
The Gungans and the
I'm right
battle
there for
droids.
you, Deb. I'm right there for you.
That's your purpose today. And it just because it's kind of comical and as much as Jar Jar is ridiculous at times, it was not a bad one to watch in that sense. But yeah.
Yeah,
Welcome.
and besides Jar Jar, the rest of the Gungans, even though they were outnumbered, their technology was pretty good,
Yeah, and
and
they had
they
skills.
put up a fight. Yeah, they put up a
Yeah.
fight. So
And not and if you don't even consider the movies, but in the Clone Wars series, you get to see more of the Gungans and their ability to fight, which is quite impressive.
yeah,
There
yeah.
are some of them who are quite smart, intelligent, and quite tricky and sneaky, and able to. I think it's General Grievous that they get the better of, and they're not as useless as Jar Jar. Michael has joined us. Welcome, Michael. We were just talking about our favorite Star Wars battle. The other thing that came up in conversation on the weekend was what character or storyline would you change that would change everything in Star Wars? And so where this kind of rolled to was what if it's kind of the what if thing, but not how you watch what if in Marvel and they go, oh, what if it was this way? What if this person was good? And those kind of concepts. This was more along the lines of what if someone took out Anakin when he was a child? What if he crashed the pod racer and died? What if that happened? That would have changed the fate of the universe.
Well,
That
if
kind of concept.
that happened, those Jedi Padawans would be safe.
Yeah, exactly. It would have more Jedi in the universe. It
Mm.
would have been very different. Noddy
What
says
if?
Ray. What if Ray dies?
Are we going there?
Then there'd be a lot more happy Star Wars fans. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I said. Are we going there? What if Anakin didn't turn to the dark side?
Yeah. So you went softer than me. I was just taking him out.
Yeah, yeah. You're like,
Neil,
well, yeah.
going hard. Neil says more action activity in prequels, more characters and charisma in ESB and Return of the Jedi. Okay, so that's what he would do different. Would be more action activity in prequels. So what would you change that would change everything? Hmm.
One of my things I've always like I knew the technology back then wasn't great. Return of the Jedi, the space battle of Return of the Jedi, if that was to the standard of Revenge of the Sith battle with
Yeah,
CGI graphics and all that, I think it would have been probably as good or even better than one of the best battles.
true.
Imagine a Mon Calamari Star Cruiser up against Star Destroyer, going toe to toe where the technology of 1983 wasn't that crash hot. So imagine if that was improved.
True. What if Luke didn't get what if what if C3PO and R2D2 didn't take off and Luke didn't have to go find them and they get knocked out by the Sand People and he was actually at the house when the stormtroopers arrived and took the droids back? That's the end of that then.
That would have been a shot movie.
Yep. Yep, that's the what if kind of concept I was looking for, going, what would change the fate of the universe? Or if Leia didn't go to recover any of the Death Star plans, what if she stayed on Alderaan?
Mm, exactly. There's many what ifs. We could be here all night with what ifs.
Hey, we can do this for the next half an hour.
Yeah.
What
What,
if?
what about the chat group? What are they saying? What ifs?
There's not a lot of people making comments. That's okay. So what we're going to talk about is, if I can pull my screen up, while we wait for you guys to give us a little bit more of, oh, here we go. What if Padme was on the bill? That's what I was looking for. Thank you. That's hilarious. Yeah, like what if she didn't fall pregnant? These things can happen.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Neil says, what about the best small battle?
That's small battle. Ooh.
Mm. I have to think about that. We might come back to that one. Well, we got next month as
Mm.
well. So, what I wanted to talk about was Maul. So, we've got a bunch of characters that we know are going to be in Maul. Have you had a chance to have a look at who's going to be Maul, Troy?
Yes, I did actually see that what you posted as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, Marok is going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna make a guesstimate here.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna find out how he gets the green smoke. If he goes up
Okay.
against Maul, he's not gonna take like Maul's gonna take him out. So is he? I don't know. Is he going to be resurrected by Night Sisters? Who knows? But that would then make the show go off in a bit of a tangent. Um,
Well, my understanding is that they're trying to link everything together. So the Night Sisters are linked in with the Ahsoka series. And is that going to give you some more of a background of them for the Ahsoka? I know that the Maul is not the same time period as the Ahsoka series, but the concept I believe that they were trying to do was this gives we know the ending for Maul, right? If you've watched Clone Wars, you know what ends up happening to him. However, this I believe what they're trying to do is give some more of a backstory of other characters, well, not only entertainers because everyone loves Maul, but some other backstories which will then be expanded on further in the Ahsoka series or any further series. That's my understanding of what's coming next.
hmm.
I don't know if you
so
share that
so this
vision
is
or
this is, so this is the I think they did partly in comic books. So I'm guessing this is the part between the
yes.
Clone Wars and the Rebel series.
Yes, this starts at the end of Clone Wars.
Hmm.
The series starts at the end of Clone Wars. However, there's the comic books that start before the series.
Yes.
One
Yeah.
of the things I'm looking forward to with the characters and the actors who are going to be in Maul is Richard. Is it Ao? I don't know how to say his last name. Aodi. He's a comedian. He's an English comedian. Well,
Okay.
actor, I suppose. I can't. He was in the IT Crowd. I can't wait because that's great. But he's going to be a robot, so a droid. So it's not like you're going to see the actual person. So it's probably just voice acting. But I
Okay.
find I find sometimes that if your voice, see, um, uh,
Alan Tudyk as like they've had a couple of comedians do the voices of droids.
They
Alan
do,
Tudyk,
and
and also the guy from the English comedian who did Zero in The Mandalorian.
yeah, but I like it if it'd be interesting though because if I can hear the voice, that makes me think of that actor. But some people are really great at doing voice acting, and you can't tell who they are, which is the guy who does all the clones. Is it
Uh,
D Billy?
Bradley.
Yeah, Bradley D.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so he is brilliant. And the reason I say he's brilliant because not only does he do all the clones, and each one seems to have a variance in their voice. There are so many other characters that he does. And one of the
Mm.
characters which I really enjoyed that he did is in the show Peacemaker, there's an eagle. He's the voice of the eagle, which just to me
Okay.
blows my mind that voice actors can do an eagle and the eagle doesn't talk. It just makes eagle sounds. But it's him,
Oh,
the same person who does
oh,
the
okay.
clones.
But they couldn't take the voice of an eagle screeching.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I
Was it? They
just
did a bear. They did a bear for Chewbacca, so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I know. But
these poor animals getting out of losing their jobs.
yeah, yes. I'm gonna skip over these. So where I'm coming from, the Force Ghost. Let's get into the thing that we're going to talk about before we run out of time, just rambling on. What I wanted to talk to you all about was the concept of the Force Ghost. So first up, we have this image is Anakin saying, "Oh, I've got legs again, amazing," and then all the kids going, "What's he doing here?" But that's not the reason why I thought of this. There's a couple of things that go with this. This is our original trilogy Force Ghosts. This is what apart from seeing Obi-Wan in Empire Strikes Back, end of Return of the Jedi, our Force Ghosts. Right? So we know Obi-Wan has the skill, Yoda has the skill, and apparently Anakin does. But then you go to the special edition, and of course they put younger Anakin in, which is why I think it's funny having the younglings in there. But the younglings don't become Force Ghosts. And so what was said to me is, why doesn't everyone become a Force Ghost? Do you know why?
Uh, well, we know that Qui Gon Jinn came back from the Netherworld, as Yoda said to Obi Wan,
Yep.
and Yoda says, "I've been talking to him, and I will teach you how to commune with him."
Yep.
Then we see in Obi Wan series, he finally does commune with Qui Gon.
Mhm.
The question I have is, okay, Yoda's been taught by Qui Gon, and Obi Wan's been taught by Yoda and Qui Gon how to become a Force Ghost when they die.
Yeah.
Where did Anakin get it?
Yeah, that's my thing too, and it's not just Anakin because the other people that are Force Ghosts is Luke, which maybe off screen Yoda taught him that while they were chatting on
Possibility,
Dagobah,
possible.
maybe, and then Leia because Leia is also a Force Ghost, if you remember, which I'll pull
Then Luke
up.
taught. Then Luke taught Leia.
Maybe.
Yeah. See, that's
To me,
still.
where you go when, yeah, because she's a Force Ghost when she's older,
Mm,
not
yeah,
younger, older
that's
Leia.
right. So the one that's out, well, two things: Anakin being a Force Ghost, and two, suddenly he becomes younger.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I, I,
yeah,
I prefer
and
the original Anakin as when he died. He's older Anakin. Not I've just
yes,
rejuvenated and become young Anakin. Obi Wan's probably going, "What?" He's looking across, going, "What the hell?"
yeah. Oh, it's you again, but why am I old and you're not? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, here you go.
Yoda look younger, and he goes, "No, I still look the same."
So Neil says in the law, the Force controls when they can Force Ghost. And David says maybe depends on the strength of the Force in the person. as to what they look like. However, we know that it was George Lucas just going back and retconning it and adding Anakin younger. And I think the reason he did that was because I get the impression some people, particularly children, because the movie's based for children, sadly, because none of us are, and we love it more than some kids do. But I think because, or maybe it's based on, people who might not be able to put one and one together and get two, is we don't necessarily we see a lot of young Anakin in the prequels now that after since we had the Clone Wars, and then he did the special edition. And so
Mm.
to help those people make the connection, that's Anakin, because a lot of us didn't really you don't see a lot of old Anakin's head. You see it the back of it when he's in
Mm.
his chamber, and then you see Luke take the helmet off, and then he becomes a Force ghost. And some of us made that connection very well. Perhaps other people didn't and wondered who's that dude standing there. I don't know.
Well, then, if and I can see your point there, but to be honest, we didn't get a lot of Alec Guinness compared to Ewan McGregor either. So they should have done it for Ewan McGregor as well.
Oh yeah, but we saw more of Alec Guinness
Yeah.
than we did of Sebastian Shaw.
Yes. Well, that
He's throughout
that's
the movie, whereas Sebastian was like in the and he was. Hey, what if you've only watched Return of the Jedi? You'd be like, who are these? Who's this old dude?
Yeah,
What's this old
or you've
dude
already
doing
watched
there?
Return of the Jedi and you see this young guy come up as a force ghost. Who the hell is he?
Yeah, like why is that relevant? Who's this
Yeah.
guy? And is yeah, you it's a good point. Never thought of it that way. Neil says maybe for the audience to know who it is, and his view is they should have left it as is. I agree, but there's some things
I
that
agree.
should have. And
Yeah.
Gavin says Sebastian Shaw, and welcome Gavin. Sebastian Shaw was the best. Yeah, it was better that way. I have to
Yeah,
agree.
definitely. Like I know there's people out there who prefer the original over the special edition. I get that. But there are some parts of special edition that did improve things. Like,
Yes.
Mos Eisley making it bigger and larger, like a city, the
Hmm.
Wampa in the ice cave. But then you have things like Greedo, hand who shot first problem, the force ghost problem. We could keep on. We could be here all night with problems, but there were improvements as well.
It's true.
So yeah, but yeah, force ghosts.
So
Interesting.
the and I guess what came out of the conversation that I had earlier was the concept of how did Yoda learn how to do it? Because Yoda had to all. It wasn't like Qui-Gon went, "Okay, mate, just want to let you know, step one, step two, step three, or even here's a book on how you do it." Because if there was a book on how to do it, which also makes me question Luke, because maybe the text has that information, maybe. But if the text had that information, wouldn't everyone have knowledge of how to become a Force Ghost? And after Order 66, wouldn't we have hundreds of them walking around?
Yeah,
And I wonder why they don't teach them that at the academy. Why is that not one of the things you'd want to
and
teach?
then you've got Ray at the end of Rise of Skywalker having all these voices and not just those three, and she's all the Jedi. Yeah, let's not go there. Let's not
So
go there.
maybe they did teach it, and maybe instead of becoming a specter, you can be a Force ghost in spirit that's invisible and you can talk to people. So maybe in the Star Wars universe, when there's people walking around who look like they're nuts and talking to themselves, they're just talking to a disembodied Jedi.
Yeah, I think it's with Jedi powers, as Yoda always said, it's like, oh, much you. Oh, I won't speak Yoda. Some of
Ah,
them are more experienced than others.
yep.
It's like any job, like any career. Some people are more experienced than others, and Qui-Gon's figured this out somehow, or he just, and he's taught Yoda. So, and Yoda's gone, oh, something I didn't know.
Not somehow. He got taught by the shaman of the wheels. So
Oh,
so that's where Qui-Gon got the information from. When I can't remember, but he got taught by, the Wills themselves how to do this.
yeah,
I don't understand why they didn't share that information with anyone else, but they did. The other person who got some information, I guess, face to face, like, one-on-one information. And I don't know if you remember this episode. And before I go on, I'll just look at the comments. Gavin says, when you become a Force ghost, your image should be of your last life image. I agree. That makes more sense
yeah,
to us. And welcome, Christian. Thank you for
100%.
joining us. In one of the Clone Wars episodes, I don't know if you remember this, but it was called the Wellspring of Life. Well, actually, it's the Wellspring of Life, but it's called Destiny. And it's when Qui-Gon talks to Yoda and he ends up in this planet, and it looks a little bit like Yoda's having an LSD trip. So there's all these pretty weird flowers and things going on everywhere, and then there's these.
Yeah,
Woo! Remember
that,
the episode of The
yeah,
Simpsons of Mr. Burns coming through when they thought there was an alien, and Mr. Burns comes through the trees and he's like, "Woo!" and everyone thought it was an alien. Well, that's kind of what these characters look. I've got a picture of them. I'll
yeah,
pull it up.
the sharp, yeah, as you said, the priestesses, priestesses.
Yes, these guys, right? And you can see the
Yeah,
weird tree thing plants in the background, and these things had these weird, odd, I guess, sense about them that they were very ethereal. And he learns from them about the idea of how you can become a Force ghost. So perhaps then he taught Luke, maybe.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't have any argument with like what you said about Qui-Gon. That's interesting. Yoda, yes. Obi-Wan, yes. But Anakin, I just go, where did he find out?
Yeah, when was he hanging out? Got a couple of comments. And
Mhm.
Michael says, at the Jedi Academy around the prequel era of the Republic before the Empire, Qui-Gon said that the Jedi were all caught up in politics and lost their way of being one with the Force to train Jedi to be Force ghosts. Okay, that makes sense. Master and Apprentice novel. Oh, that's in the Claudia. That's in one of the novels. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So 7 years before Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan 7 years before Phantom Menace. Unsure why Qui-Gon didn't share it with all the council. Oh, I know why he didn't share it with all the council. Totally understand. I wouldn't have either. If I was shunned, not become a master, treated like an outcast, I'd be like, you know what? At the end of this, I'm going to be a Force ghost, and you all can suck it. That's what I would have been like too.
What was Obi-Wan's things in episode one? Master, if you would follow their rules, you would be on the council.
Yep. No. No, because their
And
rules
he's gone like,
sucked.
nope. Yeah.
We saw what
He's a
happened.
maverick.
We
He's a
we
maverick.
saw Yeah, but we saw what happened. They all become generals in an army that they had no place to be in. So he was right. They were wrong. And the end
Yeah.
result was we don't have Force ghosts everywhere. We only have half a dozen of them. We've got a couple
Mm.
comments. Neil says Force ghosts use your current social media profile picture. Which would be funny because mine's Daria. You know the cartoon Daria Morgendorf? I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was
No.
around it was in the 90s, I think, and she's like this odd outcast teenager, and her sister is like one of the popular kids, and she's the alternative kid, and it's her dressed as a Jedi, and yeah, that's what I have as my profile picture. I'd love that if that's my Force Ghost.
I don't know what my first place would be, to be honest. I'll have to think. I'll think about that one. Think about that one.
Gavin says a ghost should be the best you ever achieve. Forever young looks ghost. Oh, that would be cool too. Me in the younger days. So I was at work the other day and I looked at my name tag and realized that the company I work for has changed its name over the years. And we've had the same name for the last couple of years, but I don't have a current ID that has that name on it. And so I asked for a new
Yeah.
ID card and asked if I could have my original photo as my ID card, and they wouldn't let me because they said I look too young.
Oh, what a shame.
I've got a couple of comments. That was when Yoda had to face his evil self. Yes, there was an evil Yoda.
Mm.
it is a brilliant episode. If you've not
It is
seen
a
it,
good
I
episode.
tell
Yeah.
you, go back through Clone Wars. If you don't want to watch all of them because there's a lot, it's many,
Mm,
many hours, find this one. It is a hoot.
it is.
David
It's a
said,
good one.
yeah, it is. David said he used to watch Daria, and Neil says Yoda shouldn't have a Force Ghost as he ran away against Palpatine. Well, he did. I think there's got to be some level of self-preservation to being a Jedi. There's no point fighting a losing battle, I don't think.
He ran because he needed to preserve the Jedi to survive to train
Yes.
the next generation, which was Luke in the end.
Yeah, but a lot of
So,
people question Yoda going into isolation and saying, well, why weren't you helping and where were you when you knew that there were other Jedi, out in the universe, and where were you helping those? Why weren't you gathering them together? But we know the Inquisitors were around and we know that they were going to hunt them down. So maybe that
well,
was
it's like
would have
that.
been
It's like that
unwise.
Jedi who tried to get Obi-Wan's help, and Obi-Wan went, "Don't come near me.
Yeah.
You
And we all
you
like
need to."
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, he said you need to disappear. Like they need to separate because if
Yes,
they group, they're going to be hunted down. So yeah, I see the point, but I also see why they did it because they were technically outnumbered. The
true.
clone troopers at the time nearly decimated most of them. So
Yes.
mm,
So we've got a couple more comments. Gavin says at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, Luke and Leia appeared as their last life. That's true. And Yoda was told to go to Dagobah with Qui-Gon. Neil says he was scared green. And Michael says he also has a whole series of Daria on DVD. Yep. Love Daria. Me too. But we are running out of time right now. What we're going to be doing next and shortly is jumping into the Star Wars member online meetup, which is via Google Meet. If you are a Star Walking member, there's a link that you can join through. If you don't have it, quickly message me and I will send it to you. Um, oh, someone's already tried jumping in. We're not there. They'll have to wait. Um, and what happens is when we do the meetup, you guys can make the choice of whether or not you put your camera on, whether or not you put your sound on, but it's more of a conversation where you don't have to write. You can actually speak up and say what you want to say, but you can use the chat function as well. It's just an extended time and we'll go for another hour on the Google Meetup, and hopefully some of the people that we're talking to now will join us. That would be fantastic. Coming up soon, we'll have a Skyforce meeting on the 22nd of February in Ingleburn. I think Melbourne is planning a movie or a get together, but I don't know the details. Watch our socials and you'll get more information about that. And otherwise, good luck with your surgery, Troy. And we'll
thank
see
you.
everyone else on the 1st of March. Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks, Troy.
See you, everyone.
All right,
Bye.
may Force be with you. Bye.